Hi everyone, it's Miss Chaos. Thanks for coming back to my second video where I just talk about my life, what happened in the last week, and sort of reflect on how to frame it positively so I can nurture my inner world. A lot of things happened. A lot of things happened this week. It was all the more meaningful because, this was the last week that concluded my project that I undertook this month. So the nature of my job could have allowed me to take a vacation or take a break in the month of July, but I decided to take on this month-long project, partly because of financial reasons, but also because I simply wanted to continue to challenge myself and build connections and meaningful experiences. So, after having spent the last month trying to upkeep um, my professionalism at work and also self-care at home, where I feed myself regularly, choosing to cook at home rather than eating outside, and continuing to sustain movement breaks in the evenings by the form of going on walks during summer nights. Overall, I think that this has been perhaps the first time in many years that I feel confident I have been able to take care of myself at work and outside of work. So I feel this immense pleasure within me from being able to say that, I didn't have to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't. Another great thing is that I finally finished the book I was reading. This book, Pachinko by Minjin Lee, is a book that I've been working on for the past couple weeks, especially because I like to switch between books almost daily. Read this one, read fiction one day, read a really heavy nonfiction the next day, and come back to Alice in Wonderland the next day. It took a while, but ultimately I finished it, and I am so proud of myself for finishing it. I can't believe this might be the second or third book I finished in years. It's I have known that I had to pick up reading at one point because I just could recall when I was a child, when I was growing up in Korea, I was an avid reader, and that meant that I was able to get into a book, live inside a book, and use my imagination to the fullest degree. I remember still back then that no movie, no media, no games could match my imagination. That's why I always preferred a book. But once I moved and started living in a different country speaking English, obviously I lacked the cultural context, the background. I wasn't able to read a book like as if someone was telling me, that's how you're supposed to read a book. You're supposed to read as if you're hearing someone speak. But if I don't know the cadence of speech from lack of information, then it's tough. And audiobooks were not so prevalent at the time, so ultimately it took years. It took a while to get to where I am, which is which is where I really not different from where I was years ago. The only thing different is my mindset. I've accepted the fact that reading is a hard skill to learn, that it will take time, that I have to be patient, and I have to congratulate and celebrate small milestones such as finishing this one book. And then another book that I picked up is The Tenant of Windfall Hall by Anne Bronte. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Bronte sisters. Oh my god. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Bronte sisters. I read Wuthering Heights by Charlotte Bronte. That was one of the first books, actually the first book I started reading a few months ago. And the reason I felt attracted to this book is when I first read the short summary in the below at the back, it says it's a hard-hitting and passionate tale of a marital cruelty, unmasked as blah 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 as the estranged wife of a brutal alcoholic bully desperate to protect her son. When I read this, I immediately thought of this Netflix series. I watched a few episodes of it. It's Nanny, The Nanny. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. And I just felt compelled to pick up this book, knowing that also that many female writers used aliases to publish, and she was no different. and knowing that it's perhaps filled with unpleasant truths and um, people's struggle to survive, and people's struggle to maintain hope has been the theme that I've always been attracted to. I I'm going to confess that the second book that I read um, in a short period of time after finishing Wuthering Heights was Night by Elie Wiesel. And if you know that book, it's probably because you read it in high school. It's Elie Wiesel is a survival of concentration camps during World War II, because he was a Jewish boy at that time. Very short book, very powerful book. So ultimately, I am pleased that I have been able to sustain my good work and life balance throughout my day-to-day life. I am pleased that I have been able to continue going on walks, and nowadays I've been actually taking my book with me, just going on walks around and then finding a decent place to sit and just read for between half an hour to an hour depending on my energy. And that is a habit that I'm trying to solidify. I feel like it's going on the right path. Last thing I'm going to mention is that I didn't realize how all this additional habits or undertakings I've been trying to incorporate in my work has been costing me more energy than what I am used to. So for the past week or so, I felt that I was feeling sort of weak. My back pain and my neck pain flared up, and I just sort of attributed to that as I don't know, hormonal cycle, or the fact that I'm just tired and that's normal. But I was talking to my mom yesterday and she suggested that I weigh myself, and I did. I lost weight, and I didn't intend to lose weight. So that tells me that I need to continue working on my mind and body connection, and in my diet I need to incorporate perhaps more snacks, or content of higher calorie, healthy calorie, of course. So this has been such an ordinary day of an ordinary girl trying to enjoy the ordinary and see the brightness in every day. Thanks for watching.